In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a new Google form. Now, a Google form is basically like a normal form where people need to fill out some details or give us some information. And then when we've got that information, we can do some stuff with that information that was submitted. So in this case, what we're going to look at today is just creating a basic Google form, showing you all the different parts of that Google form, the type of questions that we can use, and then we're going to look at an example, a geography test, where we're going to see how to set up a test like that and then gather the results from the students. And when we are done with the results, we can then mark that test basically with the responses with an add-on called Flubaroo. So I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Just make sure that you've got your Gmail account, you've got a Google account, so that you can use Google's features. So if you go to the left hand side, you'll see this little icon there that says apps. Some people refer to it as a waffle. It looks like a waffle, but in any case, that is basically your part where you can see all the different apps that Google has in store for you. So the one that we're going to look at today is the Google Drive app. So just click on Drive there, which will take you to your own personal space in Google Drive. So Google Drive is basically your online storage, cloud storage facility for yourself in Google. So you'll see there that they give you 15 gigs of data for free, which you can use. So this is basically, if you go to new, you can see that you can upload some files, you can upload folders, you can create new documents, new sheets, new Google Slides, new Google Forms, new Google Drawings. So all of those will be placed inside of this 15 gig of space online for you. So it's always available. Everywhere you go, you will be able to access it. So under the new, you'll see that we can create a new folder just for some structure. So for today, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call this folder Geography Test. And I'm going to click on Create. So now I've got this folder, and if I double click the folder, I'm inside the folder, and now I can start working inside of this folder. So for today, we're going to use Google Forms, and Google Forms is basically the form that the guy will fill out, and then the results will be displayed in a Google Sheet. But that will be created for us automatically. So it's not necessary for us to go and create the Google Sheet. Google Forms will automatically create that form or that sheet for us. So we're going to go to New. You're going to go down to More. Maybe there's not more on your screen, but just go to Google Forms then under the New button. So we're going to go to Google Forms, which will create a new Google form for us. So the very first thing that we need to do is to give our document a title. So at the top there, you'll see that it says Untitled Form. So just click on it, and then we can give this form a title. So I'm going to say again, Geography Test, and just going to say OK there, which will give us the title for our document. So now our document has got the title Geography Test. You'll see that there's a few options there at the top. We will come back to those options at the top. So if we go to the Geography Test now, you'll see that we are at page 1 of 1, so you can use different pages for your forms as well, and we're going to use 2 pages, so I'll show you how that works. And then you can get your section where you'll have all your different types of questions. So let's quickly run through those different types of questions. If you go down to add item, you'll see that there's some basic type of questions that we can ask, like text, paragraph text, multiple choice, checkboxes, or choose from a list. So this normal text one, if you click on text, this is basically where you can ask the guy, please enter your name, and then you can select it as a required question. And if you say done there, you'll see that it's basically just a small little space where somebody can add his name, his email address, his telephone number, or whatever you want to ask the guy. So it's small type of text that the guy needs to enter. Then when we go to paragraph text, you'll see it's a type of longer answer that the guy can basically give you in the test or in the form. So you can ask questions like explain the following, or why do you think so? Some type of open type of questions where the guy can elaborate a bit on a question that was asked. Then the next one, the multiple choice. We're going to have a look at multiple choice now, so I'm not going to go through it now. We're going to do it in the geography test itself. Then checkboxes, multiple choice checkboxes, choose from a list, basically works the same. Remember, multiple choice, the guy will only be able to select one choice. Choose from a list, also only select one choice. and then checkboxes, the guy will be able to select more than one option. So I'm not going to go through those. I think those are very easy to do, but you can go and have a look. We're going to do multiple choice later on. Then you can get these, the scale, the grid, the date and the time. The scale, I think everybody knows the scale. You can ask a question there, how do you think I did in my classes or whatever, and I can go and say, well, this is bad option and that one is a good option. And if I say done, I'll basically get a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 is very bad and good, 5 is very good. So people can rate you as an educator or whatever. Then the date and the time, you can go and have a look at the date and the time. That's just basically choosing a date and a time. Then there's a section header, which we will do now in the example. There's a page break. That's basically getting to new pages, so we'll do that now. We're going to insert an image now in the geography test, and then the very interesting one is this video part. So if you click on video, you can see that you can basically search for a video on YouTube. So I'm just going to say something like Macbeth. And if you search for Macbeth, you'll see that there's a few options that they give you here, and you can go through. You can also go to YouTube itself and go and get the URL for a specific video that you like, and just come and paste the URL here. So basically, if I click then on the very first one and I say select, it will place that video, and you can center or left align or right align the video. It will place the video inside of the Google form, and then the student can be able to watch the video, and when he's done watching the video, you can go, after the video, you can go and say, let's go and ask some multiple choice questions. So you can give him some options there, or you can ask some open questions. What did you think about this? What do you think about that? Which one would you choose from these options, and so forth. So it could be a nice little story that they watch on a video, and then you ask questions. So there's really a lot of stuff that we can do with Google Forms. So we're going to start with our geography test. So I'm just going to delete everything that I've done so far, so that we can start afresh with our geography test. So we've got the heading there, geography test. We can add a description there if we like. So the first thing that I'm going to do is to put in a section header, which is basically just a title for the section that we're going to do now. So we can basically go and type in, please answer each of the following questions by using the maps applied, and then we can add some optional description or whatever you want to add for this header. So if you say done, you'll see that you've got a nice header there, which will basically just give you information about what will follow next. Okay, so we're going to answer the questions that follows, and then we're going to add an image. So we're going to add an image. Now you'll see there's different options that you can add images. You can upload an image. We're going to do that now. You can take a snapshot by using your laptop, or if you've got a webcam on your computer as well, you can take the webcam, take a snapshot of yourself or whatever. You can get a specific picture by the URL, maybe your own albums, Google Drive, maybe a picture that you uploaded to Google Drive. You can have access to that one. And then there's a very nice search function as well. So we can go and search for, let's say, Macbeth or whatever, and it's going to show some pictures of that specific person or whatever you've typed there. So the nice thing about these pictures as well is you can use it as you like, because they don't have copyright on them. Which means you can really use it in your slides, in your forms, in whatever, and you don't have to worry about copyright. Also another nice feature, you can have maybe say apples there, and then you can see, well, there's red and green, but I only want the green apples. So you can click on green there and it will show you mostly green type of apples, or click on red and it will mostly show you red. So this is quite a nice search feature for you to use. You can see that if you click there, you can also go to live images and stock images that you can choose from. But I will go to the upload section now, and I'm going to upload an image directly from my desktop. So if I upload, there's the image that was uploaded. You can resize the image. You can center the image, you can left align, right align, whatever, and then we can add a header or a title for that specific image. So I'm going to say here, this is the map of South Africa and some nearby countries. Okay, so that's basically the text. You can add some hover text so that when the guy hovers over the picture, it will also show him some text. We're just going to say done, and now we've got our heading, we've got our title for the picture, and we've got the picture. So this is basically a map of South Africa with all the different provinces and some nearby countries, and then some oceans that we've got there. So then we're going to continue and ask some questions based on this picture that we've got there. So we're going to go with the multiple choice questions. So which province in South Africa is represented by number 1 will then be our very first question. And then we need to supply some options there. So I'm just going to type there the different provinces that we get in South Africa, and you'll see just clicking the enter button will move it along to the next one. And you can basically give all the different options there for the different provinces. So once you've got all the options then listed there from Gauteng, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, Northwest, Mpumalanga, Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, Western Cape, and the Free State, you'll see at the bottom there's required question. So you'll click required question and say done. So there we've got a nice little question that just says which province of South Africa is represented by number 1, and then we can make the selection there. So now, because we want to ask basically this same question again, we don't need to go and retype everything. We can just go to this question and say duplicate. So if I click on duplicate, I can just go and say, well, let's maybe go to number 3 and identify that one as well. So we can just say which province of South Africa is represented by number 3. And you'd see all the choices are still the same. It's still a required question, and we can just say done. Okay, so we've got 2 of the same questions, or basically the same questions, just the 1 and the 3 that differs, but we've got the same range of values that we can select from. And then we're going to add 1 extra question there that's also going to be multiple choice. And the question will be, which country near South Africa is represented by number 9? So number 9 there at the top that we've indicated, and then we can give them some other options again. So the first one, let's just say Lesotho. The second one, Namibia. The third one, Botswana. Let's say China to make it interesting, and we say America to also make it interesting. America and China is very far away from South Africa, but let's make it some of the choices there, and we're going to say required question, we're going to say done. So now we've got 3 nice questions, and these are based on the numbers that we've got in this picture. So let's say we want to ask a few questions about this A and B, which is basically the oceans. So we don't want to have it in the same page. So we're going to create a new page in this form. So you're going to go to page break. So it's add item, then you go to page break. And then this page break will then basically be, or this page title after the page break will be a new page with this title then. So we're basically just copying and pasting the one at the top, and just basically have the same title for this page. Please answer each of the following questions by using the maps applied, and you're going to say done. And then we're going to add that picture again. So we're going to say add item, go to image, and we're going to upload that very same map of South Africa again. There's the map, it's uploaded. We can maybe resize it a bit, put it in the center, and so forth. And then we can give it the title again, the same as the picture above, which will basically be map of South Africa and nearby countries. So you just type that in again, and you can say done. So we've got the same setup for this page as we've got for this page. Okay. So if you go down, then we're going to ask some questions about this A and B. So we're going to also go with add item and just say multiple choice. And then in this multiple choice question, we're going to add some questions about the oceans. So our first question could be, what is the name of the ocean represented by A? And then you can go to your options again, and now we need to type some options there for the different oceans that we can get. And let's say these are the options that we can get: the Indian Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and the Arctic Ocean. Okay, so we're going to say it should be, sorry, there's a spelling mistake, it should be Arctic Ocean. Okay, so then we can say required question, and we can go and say done. Okay, so now we've got 1 question, and we want to have basically exactly the same question, but we want to refer to B. So again, I'm just going to go and click there on duplicate, make the A B, and have the same choices again. Okay, and I think this is where we are basically done with our specific form that we created for this geography test. Just some options. So we're going to go to the top, and you'll see those three options at the top. The first one there that says show progress bar at the bottom of form pages, I'm going to click that one because I've got more than one page. I've got 2 pages there, which will basically help me to show me the progress as this guy completes the test. It will show the progress in a progress bar at the bottom, and I'll show you now when we get there. These two also allow only one response per person. It requires the guy to log in. And then there's also shuffle question order. Well, you see on that question marks is basically just describes it to you. But shuffling question orders, if you click that, there will be a different, or it will basically just shuffle the questions around every time somebody tries to run or tries to answer the test. Okay, so I'm going to leave those two open, but I want to show the progress bar to just show you guys. If you go down to the bottom, you'll see that there's a confirmation page as well. And I'll show you now the confirmation page when we get there. It basically says now your response has been recorded, and we can maybe add something like thank you for completing the test. Okay, so that's basically just the confirmation page that will pop up after the guy has done this test. You will get this message to say your response has been recorded, thank you for completing the test. And then we can show a link to submit another response, but because this is a test, we don't want to have that student submit another response. We can also publish and show a public link to form results. Obviously not going to do that right now. And then you can also allow responders to edit responses after submitting, going back to the form, changing something, and then resubmit it again. Also, when working with tests, we don't want to do that. Okay, so basically we are done for this one. A nice thing that we can also do is, you can see there, if you go to responses, we are accepting responses right now. So let's say it's in an hour or so that the students are going to write the test. So this should actually be turned off, so it says not accepting responses, so that if somebody has the link, they cannot go and do the test before you basically put this thing on again to say that it is accepting responses. So if it's in this setting, you can see there the form has been turned off. This form cannot be filled in then. And as soon as your test starts, you can click on that again, and it makes your test live again, accepting responses again. And then when your test is done, your time is up, you can basically just click here again, and it will not accept any more responses. Okay, so that's a nice feature that we can use. Okay, so how does our form look like now? So you can see there's a button called View Live Form. So if I click on View Live Form, you'll see this is our live form. Okay, there's the multiple choice questions, there's my progress bar, and I can click on Continue. So now one thing that we need to have when we're doing a test is, obviously we need to get the guy's name and surname and maybe an email address. So let's quickly add those questions before we carry on. So if you go down to add item on that first page, we can go and select text, just normal text, and we're going to ask the guy, let's just say name with a question mark, and we're going to say it's a required question and say done. Then we're going to add the same thing again for his, or you can say surname, or we can say first name and last name. Let's say last name, and that one we just change to first name. Make this one also a required question. So we've got the first name, we've got the last name, and then we want to have the email address. Okay, but for the email address, we're also going to make it a required question, but we can add some data validation to this email address. So you can see there's advanced settings, and then you can go to data validation. This is going to be text, not a number, and we're going to select email address. So it's going to make sure that this guy actually enters an email address. So we can add our own custom error message there to just say, please enter a correct email address. Okay, so basically it's going to do some data validation. If the email address is not an email address, it's going to show you this. It's going to show him that please enter a correct email address. So we're going to go with done, and now we've got those 3 final questions. We don't want these 3 questions at the bottom of this page, so we want it at the top. So if you hover over it and then click on your mouse, hold it in, and you go to the top, you can see there we can ask this. Well, let's just put it there. Okay, let's just put it there. So there's the first name of the guy. Do the same with the last name. Move it up just after the first name. Go down again, grab that email address and just put it after the last name. So we've got the guy's first name, last name, email address, and then you can start filling out this specific test. Okay, so I think that's it for the questions at this stage. If you view live form, you will see it's got this first name, last name, email address, and then the rest will be filled out. Okay. So let's fill out this test and let's see what will happen with the responses. So I'm going to go to view live form again, and I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to say, well, my first name, my last name, my email address. So basically, me as the educator will also need to fill in this test. You'll see when we're done with this, we're going to look at Flubaroo, which will basically help us to mark the test. So we need to fill out the form once in order to get a memo for Flubaroo to work with. So this will basically be my memo. So I'm going to type in my name, my last name, my email address. If I go down, the question is which province in South Africa is represented by 1, which is the Northern Cape. Which province in South Africa is represented by number 3, which is the Eastern Cape. And then which country near South Africa is represented by 9, that's the one at the top, which is basically Botswana. And so I'm going to say continue. And then you'll see we are at page 2. Please answer each of the following questions by using the map supplied. There's the map, and we're going to ask the following questions. What is the name of the ocean represented by A, which is the Indian Ocean? And then what's the name of the ocean represented by B, which will be the Atlantic Ocean? And then we can go and say submit. So when you're done with the test, you'll basically get to this page, which will tell you that your response has been recorded. Thank you for completing the test. And you'll see that this message there is basically when you go back and go to the bottom, that's the message that we added there at the bottom for the confirmation page. So this is your confirmation page. You can see that we cannot go back, we cannot redo the test. This is now done. Okay, so we're just going to close this one. When we go to the top, you'll also see that we can view our responses. You'll see that we've got 1 response there now, and we can view our responses. So if I click on view responses, I will get a Google Sheet that's got the answers for the test. Each column is then a different answer, and we've got the answers for this test already filled out for us. So this very first one should be basically our memo. So I'm going to go back to the test again, go to view live form, and I'm going to fill in, let's say, John Blake or whatever, his email address. I'm going to just have the same email address so I can show you in my Gmail how does it look. But we've got the first name and the last name of the guy. Which province in South Africa is represented by 1? Let's say he's got the Northern Cape there. Which province is represented by 3? Let's say he's got Northwest. Which country near South Africa is represented by 9? He's got that one correct. And then what's the name of the ocean represented by A? And then let's say he chose the Arctic Ocean, which should be the Atlantic Ocean, and we're going to say submit. So now his test is done. If I go to my responses now, you'll see that the second entry has now been made. So I've got that second entry as well. Okay, so we're going to come back to this in order to mark this test. Just want to show you something else quickly. In order for you to give this test to your students, you'll see that there's a send form option at the top, on the right hand top. You can also just go to view live form, and then this link will help you to basically get to this form as well. So you can use this link to get to this form. Otherwise you can go to send form at the right hand side, and there you'll get the link as well. So you can copy that link, or you can click there to shorten the URL for you if it's too long. You can also embed which will give you some HTML coding that you can use to embed the form in a website, or you can just share the link via Google Plus, via Facebook or Twitter, or you can just email the form, so the guy can basically fill out the form in his email client, opening up his email and doing that specific form quickly. So there's different ways to share this this document, this Google form, so that people will be able to basically fill out the test. Okay, so use one of these options then to fill out the form. So I'm going to use one option here, and I'm going to say I'm just going to use the link there at the top. So I'm going to copy that link so that we can go and do the test, let's say for a student or whatever. So that student will basically just go, and you need to basically paste that link, or if you've given the link to him with a URL shortener or whatever, he will be able to use that link. Okay, so that's basically how you will distribute this test to your students, either via mail or then via a link that you can give it to the student, also using URL shortener in the class. Okay, so let's say that we've got all our responses now. The whole class, I've got two of them open now, the whole class has done this test, and we now want to mark this test. So very easy to do is you're going to go to your add-ons section at the top, and you're going to say get add-ons. And then if you click there and you say Flubaroo, that's basically the add-on that we're going to use is Flubaroo. Search for it and you'll see this little guy with the apple there. It helps you to quickly grade and analyze online assignments and assessments, as well as email scores to students, which is quite nice. So you're going to click on free there, and then it's going to take you to this page where it basically says Flubaroo would like to do all of this stuff, and you need to accept, otherwise it will not be installed. And then Flubaroo is basically working. So you'll see then Flubaroo will be added to your add-ons menu option there. So then you're going to go to grade assignment. So we want to grade this assignment. So it's going to give you a few options there to give points to each different question. Let's say that these two ocean questions we want to give it 2 points. The guy's first name and his last name and his email address, it will identify the student. So you'll see there's an option to identify student or skip grading. So obviously the name, the last name, the email address, I don't know what's this untitled question, we can just say it also identifies the student, and then the name. So there's the different columns that identifies the student, for instance, and the rest we want to grade or give points. Okay, so then you're going to say continue. Then for step number 2, you need to indicate which of these entries is in fact your memo. You see they refer to it as the answer key. So which one is the answer key? That will be the very first one that we did. That will be the answer key or the memo, and we're going to say continue. And now you see that Flubaroo is currently grading your test. So you're going to say view grades, and then you can go back to this one and you can see, right, this John Blake guy has got 57% for the test. He's got four marks out of this. You see there's 7 marks, possible 7 marks. He's got 4 out of the 7, and this summary here will basically give you the averages for your specific class. Now obviously there's only one person, so the average will be for that one person. And then you'll see the questions that the guys really did bad in the whole class will be highlighted by orange. So you'll see that, okay, this question the guys did very bad in, and this question the guys did very bad in. So you can really identify the parts in the class where the guys are not up to standard, and you can spend some more time with those questions. Now we'll see also that we can mail this grade to the student. So if you want to mail these grades to the students, we're going to go to add-ons again, go to Flubaroo again, and because we've done the grading already, there's some few other options that we can use, and one of them is email the grades. So you're going to click on email grades, and it's going to basically ask you which one of your fields or which one of your columns there is the one that identifies the email addresses. Okay, so obviously it will be our email address column, and we're going to include a list of the questions and the scores, and we're also going to include the answer key, so they've got the memo there as well. And then we can just say here, or please have a look at your test scores, or whatever you want to do. And then you can say continue, and now it will start sending out all those different grades for those different email addresses for all of the students that you've got there. Okay, and then let's just go quickly have a look at my email address, my email, and just see how this email looks like. You'll see this email came through. It gives the guy his grade, 4 out of 7. You've got his first name, his last name, his email address, and then we've got the questions that's correct or incorrect. So which province that guy got it correct. That one is incorrect. It wasn't the Northwest, it was the Eastern Cape. That too was correct, but this one was also incorrect. It's not the Arctic Ocean, it is the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so he's got really good feedback from the educator. Every student gets really nice feedback from the educator in order to see how they did for that specific test. So guys, I hope you learned something throughout this video. Have a nice one.